Hey, good afternoon. It's Thursday from Revere Beach, International Sand Sculpting Festival. I'm Debbie DiGiulio. It is amazing just standing here today waiting to do this intro, how many people have come by to take pictures of the piece right behind me, The Spirit of Massachusetts. Amazing how many people have commented how beautiful it is, and then continue to walk down and see the sculptors doing their work. Rather than have you wait to take a look at them, let's go right to Meredith's update and you can take a look and see what's happening down here.
Yep.
Welcome back to the continued coverage of the 2015 Revere Beach International Sand Sculpting Festival. I am standing at the centerpiece, which was pretty much completed yesterday, but we decided to add a few more details. And what we added, if you can see down here, was the ribbon that says The Spirit of Massachusetts, and it's followed by Make Way for the Ducklings. You've got the mama duck and a few of her little ducklings trailing behind her. The rest of them are hiding back behind the ribbon of the sponsors. We're going to go check out the sculptor's work and see where they are at this time of the day. Okay, we're at Kevin and Leo's site right now. This is plot number 1, and you can see it's changed quite a bit since the last time we saw it. That was just a flat wall with nothing on it yesterday when they were finished for the day. You can see all the detail that Kevin is adding to it right now. They have a concept you can see whatever he's doing now is definitely related to the total concept of the whole piece. I don't know what it is. They know what it is, and we get to watch them create as they go along and watch it come to life. Now, what a lot of the sculptors do, and it looks like that's what's happening on their plot, is that Leo is on the other side over here, and one will work on one side while the other one works on the other side. Sometimes you can get a lot accomplished that way because you're not in each other's way, as long as you have good communication with your partner and you know that what you're doing is related to what they're doing on the front. Right before we broke for lunch today, Kevin and Leo decided to take off their bottom form. Now the bottom form came up to here. That's where that bottom form was. And unfortunately, it was probably not even 5-10 minutes before lunch. The whole back of their sculpture, right up to where you see this sand piled up, completely was almost 2 feet concave down into the back of it. And that'll tell you how strong this sand is because it did not collapse. Kevin came to me and he asked if they could shovel sand in there to fortify it during the lunchtime, and that is not allowed. So they had to hold their breath through lunch and wonder if it was still going to be standing when they came back from lunch. Obviously, as you can tell, it was still standing, and they were able to pack sand back in there, and you can see now it's got a little bit of an angle to it, so they might be letting it set for a while and see if they can carve it straighter down at a later point. We're with Morgan and Abe right now, and it looks like their piece is very architectural. It also looks like it's got some type of a forced perspective concept going on. You can see the building that Abe is working on has an angle to the roof. That is intentional, and it will make sense in the whole piece when they complete it. You also see Morgan over there on the corner, and she's working on her part while Abe works on his part. And then at some point, come together and meet in the middle. So even though Morgan is now on this side and Abe is over where he is, they do at some point communicate how it's all going to come together. Really nice. Morgan's got some really nice lettering going on here. It's going to be interesting, fun to see what this one is. Okay, we're with Hanneke and Suzanne from the Netherlands, and they've got a lot going on here. Sometimes the sculptors, what they want to do is they want to keep their pace going, so they'll jump from one element to the next. They won't finish something, they'll block it out and stand back and take a look, make sure their proportions right and make sure it's where they want to go with it, and then jump onto another one. They may be letting the sand sit a little bit because it might be pretty moist down at the bottom, but they definitely have a lot going on here, and it's getting really interesting. And I'm really curious to see where this is going to go. I really like this already from the point of view of the plot management and where they have everything placed, it's very pleasing to the eye to see these different shapes in different places. And when the sculpture is finished and you just look at the overall piece, this one's going to look a lot different than some of the others, because some of the others are going to be great big sculptures and then maybe some smaller ones off to the side. But this is going to have a nice different heights and different levels and different depths throughout the whole sculpture, which is going to be a really nice visual effect. Okay, we're with Ilya and David, and you can see what David's doing right now is he's got a reference in his hand. He's stopping, he's standing back, he's taking a look, he's looking at his proportion and placement, and just making sure he has everything in the right place. Sometimes what happens is you get caught up in the sculpture if you stand at the same place for too long, and you may work on detail, and then all of a sudden you stand back from where everybody else is seeing it, and it doesn't look exactly the way you want it to. So they have a tendency to move around their sculpture a lot to try and find exactly where they want to go with it. You also see that Ilya is working on a face. Yesterday at the end of the day, they didn't even have any of these blocked out, and he's already into the detail. It takes a lot longer once you get to the detail part, because that's where they get really picky about what they're doing, and they want it to look perfect, and they spend a lot of time on the detail. So the faster they go on the blocking out, the more time it gives them to spend on detail. So with Deb and Steve right now, and the view that most people look at these sculptures is from the street, from the boardwalk side. And if you look at this piece, you can see the hand. To me, looks very robotic, like it's a robot's hand. And you can't quite figure out what's going on the other side. And what that does is it strategically forces people to walk around to the other side to see what's going on. So when the viewer does make their way around and gets to see it from a different angle, now they're going to see what's going on the inside here, the inside of the hand. They're going to have a person, obviously, and at this point we don't know the concept as to why this person is here, but at the end of the competition, the story will speak for itself, and we'll know what's going on. Okay, this is something I just noticed, and this just doesn't happen. You don't just find these hunks of sand over here. They have made these hunks of sand. Looks like they're going to incorporate these into their sculpture at some point. They probably have an effect of maybe broken rock or broken stones that they're going to achieve at some point, and they'll be using these to incorporate into their sculpture. We are at Dan Doubleday's piece, and I haven't seen this one in quite some time. I think the last time I looked at this one was first thing this morning, so there wasn't a lot. I didn't get to see it at lunchtime, and there wasn't a whole lot of detail at that point. The first thing that I noticed with this one when I just walk up to it is the cut-throughs. There's so much talk and hype about cut-throughs, and there are cut-throughs that are easy and there are cut-throughs that are difficult, just to be perfectly, to simplify it. And one of the categories that they are judged on, and they judge themselves, they judge each other, I should say. One of the categories is degree of difficulty, and that is simply defying the laws of gravity. So if you see cut-throughs in the top of a piece, they're not as difficult. Let's put it this way: they don't defy the laws of gravity as much as in this piece. And you have two individual cut-throughs that have to be where they are. It's not like he just put a cut-through somewhere just to have a cut-through. You can see on the man's arm, there's a cut-through from his ribs up to under his arm, and then from her, I guess, her hair. I'm not sure what's going to be the final, what that's going to be finally, but behind her back. And because those two cut-throughs are around the same location in the sculpture, and it's pretty far down on the sculpture, there's a lot of weight up top there. And that will probably give him a high score when it comes to the degree of difficulty, because that is definitely defying the laws of gravity. Benjamin's sculpture, Benjamin's from Acapulco. Benjamin has a very unique style, and probably all 19 other sculptors that are here would walk by this piece and say, oh, Benjamin did that. I like his style. It's very clean. His anatomy is always perfect. He's very, you can watch him, right what he's doing now, he's got an attention to detail too when it comes to faces and anatomy. It's really beautiful. Very pleasing to look at. We're at Melanesia's sculpture right now, and I haven't seen this one in a while either, and I just look at it. It's just, to me, it's just absolutely beautiful already. There's so much going on here, and we had spoken a little bit about judging criteria before. Another one of the categories they judge on is artistic impression, and just the definition of impress is, does it leave a lasting impression on you? Will you be talking about any particular sculpture next year at this time? I mean, how well will you remember? And I just look at this piece and I know I'm going to be talking about this one for a long time. So if I were judging, I would score her extremely high in artistic impression. It's just absolutely beautiful. Melanesia's a very clean carver. She pays attention to detail a lot. And it's always really nice to see her finished product. It's just beautiful and flawless. I can't wait to see this one finished. Okay, we're at Joby's sculpture, and I have no idea what he has going on with this. And this is pretty much the side I have seen up until now, but I'm going to take you around to the other side and show you what he's got going on. I had no idea what he had going on, and it was already very impressive. And then I walked around to this side, and it's like, wow, what is he doing? And I'm trying to think of all these things to say, like, but it's just cool so far. I have no idea what he's going to be doing with it. I mean, right now you look at it and it looks like an alien coming out of something, but who knows? That could change, and it could change drastically. But something he's doing right now is very strategic. We have something that we call plot management. And the art of sand sculpting is physical enough on its own. You don't want to have to move sand any more than is needed. So they strategically place their sand as they're carving. I can pretty much predict that sand he's piling up now is probably the sand that he scooped out. There's a lot of sand that came out from inside this feature right here. So he's reusing that sand and packing it up against that wooden form. And this isn't going to have to be as structural as the other elements that are really tall. That's why he's just using one piece of the form to hold the sand as he's packing it in there. And this is going to be a pretty interesting composition piece, I can tell, and I'm really anxious to see what he's doing with it. And we're at Ongoron's sculpture, and every once in a while you just talk to the public. You get a lot of people asking a lot of questions. And Ongoron's a very friendly guy, and he will take time to, answer a few questions and get to know some of the people here in Revere. We talk about strategically using the sand, and you can see what Ongoron's doing over here looks like this is going to be a tree, and he's got roots coming out, and he has to use that sand over there on the other side, or he will not score high in usage of sand. That's another one of the categories. So I'm not sure what he's going to do with it, but he might be scraping the sand and gathering his sand to use for the tree roots strategically. Like this might be whatever this feature is going to be, might be concave on this side and rounded on the other side. So we'll see where he goes with that. One of the things I like to do as a sculptor is to sometimes try and figure out where they're going with something, with their piece, but I don't usually voice it because most of the time I'm wrong. But I did notice that this is somebody with a mushroom in their hand. So I just kind of asked Ongoron, I said, is that a psychedelic mushroom? And he said, oh yes, it's all about the psychedelic mushroom. So then it made me think that I wonder if the sand pile we were just talking about, that I said, maybe it's going to be something that's concave on one side and rounded on the other side. Maybe that's going to be a humongous mushroom cap. We'll see. Okay, we're at Guy's sculpture right now. And he's got something very unique and very creative going on, very original, upside down faces. But the thing that intrigues me about Guy's sculpting, and I don't know how to explain this other than every time I see one of his sculptures and he's working on it, he forces me to look at the whole thing. It's just, I don't know, there's something appealing about the smooth lines and hard lines, and it just makes me want to walk around the sculpture and see more and see what he's got going on with the rest of the piece. Okay, he forced me to walk around the piece, which I wanted to do, and intrigued me to see what was going on, and it's very nice on the back. He's concave on the back. It's nice and smooth, and he's working his way down very well. Okay, we started at the back of Pavel's piece because that's where we were positioned when we left Guy's, and Pavel was standing back there, so I wanted to see what he had going. And you can see he's using the shovel to do sculpting. The larger the area that they're carving, the larger the tool they use. And then as they whittle their way down, the tools get smaller and smaller. So now I want to go around front and see what he's got going on there. So when we moved around to the front of the piece, I would have no idea this is what I was going to see from looking at the back of it. And he's in the blocking out phase of it. These hands will be very detailed. Pavel is a perfectionist when it comes to anatomy. He has amazing talents in sculpting, and you will, by the time he's done, you'll see veins on these hands. They'll look like two real hands. I don't know if they're holding the skull, crushing the skull, manipulating the skull, but that's not detailed out yet, so we can't tell, and it'll take shape as it goes along. Okay, Marielle, we are at her site, and Marielle's one of those sculptors that does detail as she's going. You can see the face is almost completely detailed out, and she's working her way down with the blocking out. She started out with detail first, got the positioning of the head where she wanted it, and now she's blocking out from there down. Looks like maybe this is going to be a hand holding something. I'm not sure. And like I said, I shouldn't even try and guess because it's not fair. You know, it's like eating grandma's chocolate chip cookies before the chocolate chips are in. You know, it's not completed yet. So let's see where this one goes. We are with Sue McGrew right now, and she's moving right along. She has two figures here facing each other, and you know, all my years of sculpting, this one thing I've learned is what you see now is not what you're going to see when they're finished. You can walk away from one of the sculptors for, you know, not even 20 minutes, half an hour, and come back, and it's like, oh, that's not what I thought it was going to be. Or, oh my goodness, look at how much detail they put on that in just that short time. So she's finding it right now. She's got a nice tilt to that head right there. And she's finding out where she wants to go with everything. So this is a perfect example because yesterday I had no idea where he was going with this. And now I look at it and it's just absolutely beautiful. Look at the face. I had no idea he was going to put a face there. We just saw swoops yesterday. It just almost looked rather modern art type of thing. And now you can see that he knew where he wanted to go with this because it meant something. That's the hair flowing, and he wanted to have it in just the right place to put his face. So wow, this is beautiful. I love this profile. I now haven't looked at around the other side, so now I'm anxious to go see what he's got going on from another viewpoint. Very nice. This is aesthetically very pleasing to me. It just has a really nice flow to it. It's got a lot of nice smooth lines, but yet you look around the eye and it's got some really sharp featured details there too. Just look at how he's giving that cheekbone just by getting that one line there, how it defines the cheekbone. It's very nice. He also has another set of forms, I believe. Are those pounded up? They weren't there yesterday. Let me go take a look. Okay, I thought Dan was finished with his pound up yesterday, but lo and behold, here's a surprise back here. He's done a whole nother pound up, and not only has he finished this section down here, it looks like he's doing another one. And this is another one of the categories, the usage of sand that we talked about with one of the other sculptors is he's strategically, he doesn't have enough sand to fill this. If you look around, he used all his sand yesterday. So what he's doing is he's using all the shavings that are coming down off this. You know, they fill these huge boxes with sand and water, but then they end up carving, you know, a good percentage of that away. So he's taking all his shavings that he's carving off of here, and he's probably going to fill, as long as he has enough, he's going to fill this box as well, and he has something planned for that.
And we're back. Meredith, again, great job. As you can see, you know, the details are really coming together for each of the sculptures. They're really working hard. The details are amazing. And, you know, as the details are coming together for the sand sculptures, the details are also coming together for the festival, which will kick off tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. The parking spaces were tough to get today. Starting tomorrow at 10 o'clock, the parking spaces will get even tougher to get. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take you to see a little bit of the preparation that's coming together. Let's go and take a look at that.
All right, thanks, Deb. Now we're directly across the street from the sand sculpting competition, and you can see behind me that they're already starting to set up the stage. Here will be the performances, the entertainment, probably the award ceremony. And tomorrow the festival starts at noon, where they'll probably close this street off. I'm not sure what time exactly, but there'll be food trucks, entertainment, rides for the kids, and things like that. And that starts at noon tomorrow through Sunday. So back to you, Deb.
Okay, so we're back. And yeah, you can see that the food trucks will be coming in tomorrow. We're preparing for that. The Ferris wheels will be coming in. The bandstand, everything's moving a little bit further up, as you can see, this year. And as I mentioned, there is a lot of traffic. There's a lot of traffic today. Tomorrow there'll be much more. As a Revere resident, if you're coming in, my suggestion would be to take the T. There is parking at Suffolk Downs. You can park at Suffolk Downs. They will take you on a shuttle to Beachmont. You can get on the train and then come to Revere Beach. That is probably the easiest way. Or you can pay $5, park at Revere Beach, and cross over the Marquis Bridge. Either way, there is parking down here, but I think the best way is to do the Blue Line in, park at Suffolk Downs. It's always tough to park down here. So my suggestion, do it that way. There are a ton of people now. Come down at night, come down, see what's going on. It's great, it's exciting. We'll see you down here, and we'll catch up again tomorrow. Thanks.